This is Bring a Trailer member Daniel H., and I'm here with another Bring a Trailer member, a family friend of mine, who's asked me to help sell one of his gems today. Hey, Dave. Hey, David. How are you, sir?
Hey, how's it going?
The,
nice to see you. Welcome.
COVID era, so we're all masking up. And David's had me over here, and he's an avid car guy, so you've decided to sell one of them.
I have. Just
Okay.
checking the oil on before I go out in one of the other old cars.
Let's do it.
And of course it's perfect.
Good news, good news.
Put this
So-
back in here. How are you?
Good.
Nice to see you.
Thanks
Welcome.
for having me out. Yes,
That's a
we're
pleasure.
actually in Atherton, California, where Bring a Trailer was founded, and here we are, back with my good friend, and we're going to look at some cars today. Well, one car in particular, and that's your Audi R8, 2008, David. Is that right?
2008.
Okay, so you went to Germany and got the car.
We did. When I say we, I went with a friend of mine from New Zealand, actually, who's another petrol head. And I took delivery from the factory. Had a wonderful day with the whole factory, looking at the assembly of the A6, Audi A6, and then we went and had a whole period of time with the assembly of the R8s.
Now you said, sorry to interrupt you, but you said you had put a deposit down on a different Audi. And what
okay.
Audi was that?
So I used to have an RS6.
An
Audi
RS6, I remember now.
which I loved that car.
Okay.
It was a beautiful car. And I heard that they were going to bring out a new model. With that, I called up my dealer, Audi dealer, put a deposit down. Then a little while after that, I heard that they were just bringing out this new car, this new sports car called an R8. So I started Googling and finding out about that. Called up the guy, said, move. I want to put my deposit on that. So I moved from the RS6 to the R8. And it must have been a year and a half or something before they actually started production. This was one of the first ones that was brought into California.
So you're the first owner of the car.
First owner of the
You
car.
took delivery in Germany.
Yes.
You spent the night with at a hotel, and a friend from your
New
native
Zealand.
New Zealand came
Yeah.
to meet you, and
Yeah.
then you did a whole tour of Europe in the car.
Well, we did the factory tour, and then the next day jumped in this car and we did a week around southern Germany and northern Italy in this thing, and discovered that it does go way over 100 miles an hour on the German autobahns, and then took it to a shipper that Audi recommended, and they just shipped it directly to here. And I picked it up and I've been driving it ever since.
And you had no problems on your first drive. You bought it, you drove it around Europe, and you had no problems at all?
Absolutely none.
Cool.
No.
And when I visited you before, you had mentioned that the men at Audi were wearing red jumpsuits. Is that correct?
Oh, yeah. Well, so apparently what they had done this was such an important vehicle for Audi to introduce, that they gathered the best mechanics and assemblers that they had in the Audi assembly plant and trained them to assemble the R8. The R8 is less a robot-driven assembly system. It was much more hand-assembled. So you could just wander around on this large floor. You could see the whole assembly chain as the car moved around its different stations, and these teams would be putting engines in, upholstery in, windscreens in, sending it to, the body was already painted, and then at the very end, when it was assembled, it would then go into this booth where it would be hooked up to dynos and exhaust fan systems, and they would they'd start them up and they'd rev them. The engine revs were very, very high, and there'd be smoke and clouds of fumes everywhere, as the preservatives that had been put into the mechanical system inside the engines burnt off, and then they got the readings and checked absolutely everything, and then they'd slow it down, close it off, disconnect everything and drive it out. It would then go onto a track that they had there next to the assembly plant, and they'd do test drives on this track. And it wasn't just a race type track, it was more a varying road surface. So it had bumpy sections, it had hilly sections, it had uneven sections, it had smooth sections, and they would drive it around there for, I can't remember how many kilometers, and make sure that it was 100%.
Well, this is great stuff for Audi fans, and that's really awesome to hear. Let's take a look at the car now. If that's okay, can lift this cover off, David?
Absolutely.
Is that okay? Okay.
So
This is David's Audi that he got. Oh, I remember you have your own process.
I got a little process here.
Yeah.
And I just bundle it up very easily, and then it's very easy to roll back out and put back on. Thanks for helping.